are here at the iconic Henrietta Hudson with the woman who made it happen. Can you introduce yourself and tell people about where we are?
Sure. Hey, I'm Lisa Cannistraci, co-owner of Henrietta Hudson. 31 years in the making.
Wow. So 31 years ago, what gave you the idea to open this spot?
Sure. So, no, I never wanted to own a bar.
You never wanted to own a bar?
No, it was never really in my, I never thought about it. I was studying to be a clinical psychologist.
Really?
When this happened. Well, not studied, but aspiring to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was a bartender at this space in the 80s, from 85 to 90. This was the original cubby hole.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
It was half the size.
Okay.
And I just stumbled literally into this place one day, and they hired me. And it closed in 1990, and I went to another bar, and all my customers like open the old cubby hole. I was like, hell no, I do not want to own a bar. And then the right person approached me, who we really clicked as a business partners. Her name is Minnie Rivera, and we've been partners and ever since, and we're very good friends.
Amazing. So what was it like to own a queer bar in the 90s then? In New York?
Sure. So it was very delineated back then, and there wasn't a lot of language to really be specific about how you identify. So it was pretty much a lesbian bar.
Yeah.
And that's what the community clamored for. That's what we, gave them. And over the years, we've morphed into a queer human bar built by dykes.
I love it. So how would you describe the clientele that comes here now? It's the best. Everyone?
Honestly, it is. I'm having the most fun that I've ever had.
Really?
We started the transition, no pun intended, about 10 years ago.
Okay.
I was at an event, and Henrietta's it wasn't really popping back then. It was, I felt it was a little anemic and boring. And there was a cluster of young queer kids, and I kind of just sidled up and said, can I ask you guys a question? They didn't know who I was. And I said, would you guys ever go to Henrietta Hudson? They were like, no, that place is so old. And that's what I needed to hear. I literally woke up the next morning and started a whole new campaign. I spoke to every staff member. Half of them were very excited about change. Half weren't. Those half left.
Wow. Okay.
The half that wanted change and wanted something new and different stayed with me, and we embarked upon this journey and we morphed to a lesbian-centric queer human bar.
Okay.
And little by little, the queer kids started coming from Brooklyn, because back in the 80s and 90s, nobody would go to Brooklyn.
Really?
Oh, no.
Because now that's like the place to be, right?
Everything was in the West Village. And little by little, Brooklyn got super queer, super hip. And then I had to convince them to come back to the West Village. And that's what we did starting right around 2010, 2011. And so I knew post-COVID, when we rebooted, we were going to be very clear about the space. Even though it had morphed, I wanted to be vocal about it.
Okay.
And we created this new logo. I can send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me.
It's a very interesting intersectionality logo of the community. And it's just been embraced incredibly, and it's just so much fun.
So post-COVID, even more so, you're like, we're queer bar.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I love that. So obviously we're here now and it's calm. What is it like on a Saturday night? We're going to experience it later, but from your perspective, you said it's so fun to be here. So.
No, it's just joy. It's pure joy. There is a wait to get in. Usually it's at least an hour.
Yeah.
And we don't overcrowd it, because we want people to have a really nice experience. So we keep it at or a little, at around capacity. Okay. So folks can get into the bathroom, can get a drink, can have a little oxygen. And totally. It's more colorful, it's more vibrant, it's happier.
Yeah.
People are actually working on their outfits again.
Yes.
That kind of stopped for a while. Like, people were just kind of going out in sweats, and they're not doing that anymore.
No,
like, they're getting dressed.
They want to be seen here now, right?
They're doing the makeup with the euphoria look,
Oh yeah, I love that. That's so cool.
It's great.
So you mentioned earlier that you don't identify with the word lesbian. You identify with the word dyke because that's the word that you use during ACT UP.
Sure.
Can you talk about that? Because that's so important to the history of.
Oh gosh.
I know it's a lot. It's heavy, but
it's heavy,
just something that we can educate people that this is a space that is also steeped in history. You know?
Sure. We've been an activist space from Jump Street, and I was mocked, judged, but I didn't care shit. Really, but
I can tell you're not that type of person. You do your thing.
So when folks would say to me back in the 90s, why do you have to mix nightlife with politics? I was like, well, what's political is personal to this community, and I don't expect you to understand it, nor do it. It's fine if you don't, but if you didn't bring your checkbook and you're not going to make me an offer, just mind your business.
Exactly, yeah.
So I always mixed, this was an activist venue, always used it as a platform for social change, embraced thousands of nonprofits, brought visibility and funds to them. And then, when the 45th president was elected, all these accidental activists came up. Look, the women won the House, all of them. Seats in the House. Yeah. That was the silver lining. Plus, the gay community got freaked out.
Right.
So everybody started the activist. So that was exciting to me because for many, many years, the young queer kids weren't really into activism. And that sparked it, and they've remained. Good. So to go back to when the AIDS epidemic swept New York City, in the 80s, it was really devastating. I remember being at a diner. It was called, it was right on West 4th Street, and Tiffany Diner. And I ordered a cheeseburger, and I looked over and I saw the first time I saw somebody with Carposies, and I just started crying. Like, no sounds, just tears were just rolling down my face. I had to leave. And that's when I knew I had to do something. So the Lesbian, the dykes, I should say, the dykes took over. We went to St. Vincent's Hospital. We took care of our friends who were dying, but the men were terrified to go in, so we understood. And, ACT UP was born out of, the government doing nothing to try to help us. They didn't care, and we were very radical. I mean, we stormed, Grand Central Station, St. Patrick's Cathedral. So I do identify with the word dyke. However, I always identified as gay. It's just more, it's in my brain.
Yeah.
It's like, it's in my chemistry. I love fashion. I love design. I love, all those things. I don't build things.
Yeah.
I point.
Me too.
So,
I always say, I'm not a dad, I don't build.
And when we were embarking upon the relaunch, I put this incredible team together. I want to shout out Charles Hayes IV, Molly Adams, Talia Rosenthal. They were my core team for the rebuild, and they did many things. And when we came out as a queer human bar built by dykes, we got a little pushback from some turfs.
Bye. We don't want them anyway.
And they didn't realize the bar had already been that way for 10 years.
Yeah.
They just didn't notice.
Right.
They just were trying to be radical. Boring, done. So yeah, too bad.
Yeah, so that's perfect. So it's great to hear, because sometimes when I tell people I identify as queer, they'll give pushback. Like, oh, well, that's a word that was used against us. And I was like,
we reclaimed it.
We reclaimed it, yeah. The same way I call myself fat. It's just a descriptor. Yeah. We're reclaiming it. We have the power. So I love to see someone like you who has been in this work in activism for so long embrace the word queer and put a great spin on it.
It's brilliant.
I love it. Is there anything else you want my audience to know?
No, I have some meetings today with some small children.
Okay, we'll let you get to your meetings with very important people.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.